Hello students. Good day, and welcome to the Mapeh Module 4 on Arts 9. Western Classical Arts Traditions. This module was designed to provide you with fun and meaningful opportunities for guided and independent learning at your own pace and time. You will be enabled to process the contents of the learning material while being an active learner. Before we start our lesson, let's answer these questions first. This will measure your prior knowledge and the concepts to be mastered throughout the lesson. Direction: read and answer the following questions. Choose the letter of the correct answer. You will be given 5 seconds to answer. Let's start. Number 1. The dominant theme in Byzantine sculptures. A. Religious, everyday life scenes and motifs from nature. B. Terracotta and limestones. C. Human figures. D. Symbolisms. The correct answer for this item is A. Religious, everyday life scenes and motifs from nature. 2. Animals are used as symbols in Byzantine sculptures. A. Horse, dove, and rabbit. B. Dove, deer, and peafowl. C. Snake, dove, and horse. D. Bird, peacock, and rabbit. If your answer is letter B, dove, deer and peafowl, correct. Number 3. Romanesque lightweight devotional images were usually carried in A. Processions. B. Conferences. C. Parade. D. Concerto. The right answer is A. Processions. 4. Gothic sculptures had greater freedom of style. A. Yes, because they no longer lay closely against the wall. B. Yes, because the subject were shown larger than humans. C. Yes, empty spaces were filled with figures. D. No, none at all. For this item, the correct answer is A. Yes, because they no longer lay closely against the wall. Number 5. The most commonly used material in Gothic sculpture. A. Wood. B. Stone. C. Glass. D. Metal. The correct answer is B. Stone. Recap. This section will measure what learnings and skills that you understand from the previous lesson. Direction: identify the following sculptures by its name and the eras they belong. You will be given 5 seconds to answer. Great Sphinx of Giza, from Egyptian era. The Last Laocoon, from Roman era. Queen Nefertiti, from Egyptian era. Venus of Byzantine, from prehistoric. Samothrace, from Roman era. Alright, I think we are ready to tackle our topic for today, which is about Byzantine, Romanesque and Gothic sculptures. Let us discuss the Byzantine sculptures first. The dominant themes in Byzantine sculptures are religious, everyday life scenes, and motifs from nature. Also, animals were used as symbols: dove, deer, peafowl. While some had acrostic signs, form of writing, in which taking the first letter, syllable, or word of different lines, and putting them together, can be result in a message that contained a great theological significance. For example, the Barberini diptych, an early example of Byzantine ivory work. Then next is Romanesque sculptures. The Last Judgment Timapnum. Timapnum, an architectural element with the arch, or pediment, of the West Portal, Cathedral of Saint Lazare, Auden, Burgundy, France, circa 1120–35, by Giselbertus. Some of the famous sculptural pieces are reliquaries, altar frontals, crucifixes, and devotional images. Small individual works of art were generally made of costly materials for royal and aristocratic patrons. These lightweight devotional images were usually carried in processions both inside and outside churches. Now we have Gothic sculptures. Gothic sculptures had greater freedom of style. They no longer lay closely against the wall, but began to project outward. Figures were given their own particular attitudes, instead of being set into particular patterns, and were lively and realistic. Great! We have reached the end of our lesson for today. Let us proceed to our activities. Activity number 1. Direction: compare and contrast the two sculptures, using the following indicators. Take a look at the picture. Copy and answer. Write it in your notebook. 1. Name of sculpture. 2. Period and era when it was created. 3. Materials used. 4. The use of elements of arts in sculpture, lines, shapes, color, and texture. 5. The distinctive characteristic of the sculpture. Activity 2, Art Production, Paper Roses Sculptures. How to make sculpture paper roses. Step 1, cut paper. We need 3 square pieces of paper for making 1 rose. Step 2, fold the paper. Take 1 square piece of paper and fold it diagonally. Step 3, mark and cut 3 more images. Step 4, cut segments. Step 5, curl edge. Step 6, glue edges. Step 7, arrange petals and glue. Perfect. We are through with our activities for today, but before we part ways, let's summarize the concepts of the lessons by completing the sentences in the next slide. Number 1. The dominant features in Byzantine, Romanesque and Gothic sculptures are. Number 2. The themes from Byzantine, Romanesque and Gothic include. Number 3. The most common styles, Byzantine, Romanesque and Gothic are. The Armed Forces of the Philippines, AFP, joined the Christian faithful worldwide in a peaceful and pious observance of the Lenten season 2020 amid the 2019 coronavirus disease, COVID-19, pandemic. In a Lenten message, Brigadier General Edgar Arevalo, AFP spokesperson, urged the Filipinos to believe that the country will emerge victorious over the health crisis that it is facing now. Quote,
"As we mark the start of the Holy Week, let us be reminded of God's infinite love and mercy that He sent His only begotten Son to bring us salvation. Let us draw inspiration from Christ's suffering and passion in the cross where in the end He triumphed over death."
Unquote. Now, what are the Filipino behaviors to help fight public health crisis? Before you go, let's measure how much you have learned from the entire module by answering the post-test direction. Read the questions carefully and choose the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. An example of early Byzantine ivory work. A. Timapnum. B. The Barberini diptych. C. Last Judgment. D. Resurrection of the Virgin. The correct answer is B. The Barberini diptych. 2. The era which generally characterized by move away from the naturalism of the classical tradition, and those artworks which contain a religious message. A. Romanesque era. B. Byzantine era. C. Gothic era. D. Classicism. If your answer is letter B, Byzantine era. Very good. Number 3. This was a style of medieval art that developed in northern France out of Romanesque art in the 12th century AD. A. Romanesque. B. Classicism. C. Gothic. D. Byzantine. The correct answer is letter C. Gothic. Number 4. The art era which was characterized by a vigorous style in both painting and sculpture. A. Romanesque. B. Gothic. C. Byzantine. D. Classicism. For number 4, the correct answer is letter A. Romanesque. Number 5. This is an example of Gothic sculpture. A. The Resurrection of the Virgin. B. The Last Judgment. C. The Barberini Diptych. D. The Port Natiu sarcophagus. The correct answer for this item is A. The Resurrection of the Virgin. How many correct answer did you get? Keep it up. And that completes our lesson for today. Thank you for listening.